been so quick to answer and help me. I definitely recommend it to anyone who is looking for a payroll software that is easy to use, user-friendly, and really offers everything that you need when it comes to something that's beneficial for your business.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
patriotsoftware.com. Accounting and payroll. Keep your time and money.
Victory, World War II in Real Time, an illustrated biography by the Associated Press commemorating the 75th anniversary of the Second World War, available wherever books are sold.
It is 7:36. Let's get an update on your morning ride to work in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim.
Southbound I-55 traffic is jammed from 53 to Weber. All lanes are blocked with a crash just before 126. And northbound, there's a huge Gabers delay starting just past Lockport Road and continuing to past 126. Farther north on the inbound Stevenson, we see heavy pockets from Harlem to Central after a collision, then approaching the Ryan. Travel time, 34 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive outbound, 28. On the Kennedy inbound, your trip time O'Hare to downtown is 24 minutes, outbound it's 20. Inbound Eisenhower, we have a jam, Ridgeland to Keeler, there's a crash, 3 left lanes are blocked. It's 50 minutes, 390 to downtown. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast, sunny and cold. 24 today. It's 8 right now at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Breaking news as it happens. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Can you feel the acrimony dissipating? Can you feel the love tonight? AOC, the front girl for the Socialist Spice Girls, she on CNBC with Rachel Maddow lookalike Chris Hayes had this to say about the House Republican caucus in 2021 and its leader, Kevin McCarthy.
But this term, there are legitimate white supremacist sympathizers that sit at the heart and at the core of the Republican caucus in the House of Representatives. And when you see someone like the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy of the Republican Party, respond to white supremacist vitriol coming from his own members, not with censure like they did with Representative Steve King of Iowa, not with, being stripped of committees, not with any consequence. You have to wonder who actually has that power. And it increasingly seems, unfortunately, that in the House Republican caucus, Kevin McCarthy answers to these QAnon members of Congress, not the other way around.
Biden and AOC are doing their best to promote unity, but how can you unify with people who are white supremacist sympathizers and QAnon flacks? Like House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. For more on this new era of unity, pleased to be joined again by Gerard Baker. He is editor-at-large, Wall Street Journal. Gerard, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You must understand AOC's dilemma when it comes to her commitment otherwise to unity.
Yes, of course. I mean, she is, she is the very embodiment of unity. And in fact, in a funny way, she actually represents the kind of unity that Joe Biden seems to be trying to, and there's no other way to describe it, impose on the country, which basically says this: look, agree with everything I believe in, and then we can have a unified country. If you don't agree with everything I believe, if you don't agree with everything I believe in, I'm afraid you're a destructive force, and you need to be expelled from the party, expelled from Congress, expelled from polite conversation. It's the kind of unity that is imposed by a victor in a war when the other side unconditionally surrenders. That's not really the way that democracy is supposed to work.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, though. You have to admit there's nothing confusing about it, and you see moves that help to bring it into focus to the extent there is any confusion or lack of clarity. For example, tasking the Director of National Intelligence, and Susan Rice spoke to this the other day as well, to identify and ferret out elements of violent extremists with particular focus on white supremacists. It seems to me that the Biden administration is going to operate very much like the social media platforms that are in the squelching dissent business at present, which is to say there's somebody or some group we don't like. All we have to do is tag their positions as hate speech, identify them as violent extremists, and there's nothing we can't do to silence them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the danger here. Look, no one, I think, and it's important to say this, no one condones political violence. No one condones white supremacists. There are white supremacists. There's no doubt about it in this country. They are around. We saw, presumably, some of them were some of those people who rioted on Capitol Hill a few weeks ago. Nobody supports that, and of course, the government should take all measures to ensure that those people are not a threat to other people and to the stability of the country. But actually, look, what's the political? We were told, of course, on Inauguration Day that the country was going to be overrun by these white supremacists in 50 state capitals and in Washington, D.C. I saw one lonely protester, I think, outside the Michigan state capitol in Ann Arbor, and I think that was all we saw. And where has the political violence since Inauguration Day? Where actually has the political violence in this country been coming from? It's been coming from the far left Antifa crowd on the West Coast in Portland and elsewhere, for whom apparently Joe Biden is not radical enough. The other one. So look, yeah, exactly as you say, that for the likes of AOC, and unfortunately, it does seem for this administration, the threat, the opportunity here is to portray the opposition to everything they do as being led by and being distinguished by white supremacists, and therefore unacceptable people outside the political mainstream committed to political violence. Therefore, they must be crushed. Well, actually, there are tens of millions of people in this country who reject political violence, but who reject what Joe Biden and AOC are trying to do to the country. But they're trying to describe them as violent.
Well, you didn't see any white supremacists at the state capitals on Inauguration Day because they're all members of the House Republican Caucus, of course. I mean, but here's what they're doing. I mean, this is just an extension of what they did the last 4 years, what they've done for the last 50 years. It's just boogeyman politics. Boogeyman Trump is gone, so now it's boogeyman white supremacists. Yeah, they exist. They're an existential threat to our republic. Please. So it's boogeyman white supremacists. We don't need to make compelling arguments for our policies. We just have to say, look at who's opposing us. That's all you need to know. That's the same play they made with Trump. Don't pay attention to the details of his policies. Just look at who is proposing those policies. That's all you need to know.
That's right, exactly. That's it's the demonization of political opposition. This is, so it's an old tactic. It's particularly favored by the left. It's been, a tactic of the left going back to right back actually to go back to the French Revolution. That if you oppose this, you are a threat to the regime. You're a threat to authority. And so when you whether you don't like what the administration is doing, and the point I'm making in my column this week is, Joe Biden's supposed call for unity is represented by is actually the actual material reflection of that is this attempt to get the country to unite around what is a very, very radical agenda. It's tremendously ironic. Joe Biden won in large part the election because he wasn't Donald Trump. He won the Democratic nomination because he wasn't a radical. He's actually, in his first week, is through these executive orders and presidential declarations and others, is implementing a very, very, very radical agenda on everything from racial equity to eliminating fossil fuel to energy jobs, to promoting the very controversial opportunities for transgendered people. This is the woke left-wing progressive agenda that Joe Biden actually rejected in much of the Democratic primary, and he's now through executive fiat, imposing it on the country. It's not the way to unify the country. He won the election, sure, and the Democrats won control of the House and the Senate, but they are acting as though they have a mandate to implement the most radical policies, and it's no wonder that people want to get up and protest. And I think I got my state capital wrong earlier. Of course, it was the one single protester was in Michigan, was in Lansing, Michigan. But this is why people. This is, if he wants to unify the country, this seems to me to be a very strange way to go about it.
Yeah, and I mean, even when you look at the Keystone Pipeline, 33,000 jobs are going to be lost in Wyoming. In the swing state of Wisconsin, where he almost, was 20,000 votes separated the two, the union for the pipe fitters, the union, they backed Biden, and now they're out of jobs. You think that they do their homework before the election?
Right, and the disturbing thing about that, about particularly the Keystone Pipeline issue, is that, as everybody says, this is not even about actually eliminating fossil fuel jobs, which would be, again, and this idea that, as John Kerry was talking about yesterday, these people are just going to be retrained to make work on solar panels. That's nonsense. That's not going to be an easy process. There's a completely different set of skills, completely different set of retraining, and the opportunities in solar power are much more limited than the enormous amount of people, the enormous opportunities that exist in fossil fuels in this country. But the real, I think what we really learned from the Keystone decision is that is not a pipeline. Those people are not the people working on that pipeline are not extracting energy from the earth. They are actually, it's simply a pipeline which carries oil that has got to be transported from Canada in some way anyway, and it will be. And it'll be put, if it's put on trucks or put on trains or whatever, it'll be done that way. This is pure symbolism. It's pure. This has become a kind of totem for the left of their progressive ambitions, and it's they are sacrificing whatever it is, 10, 15,000 jobs on the altar of their absolute of their symbolic desire to see a transformation in the energy supply of this country, one, by the way, which is completely implausible and which will result in the loss of millions of jobs without good-paying jobs to replace them.
It seems like the failure of the Republican Party, center-right, commonsensical people is the failure to make arguments. So with respect to this phony baloney call for unity, it seems to me you have to do two things. And Rand Paul began to do those two things over the last couple of days. I think he's the only one working in Washington, both with respect to his resolution on the impeachment trial as well as his questioning of Tony Blinken in the Secretary of State confirmation hearing, which was excellent. But so unity is their new speak for uniformity. That's number one. Okay, we've set that. The other thing is, that's not the question. You're not going to, quote unquote, unify, like bring everybody into agreement in a country of 330 million people with a history of being nonconformists. That's a good thing. So it's about setting standards. What's the basis on which we organize a free society? And here the question is not unity or not unity. It's, do you believe and do you want to live in a society that believes in peaceful pluralism? Peaceful pluralism, peaceful substantive disagreement, go your own way, and respect people who go their own way too. Peaceful pluralism is the standard, not this phony baloney, contrived misappropriation of the word unity. But you have to make that argument, and you have to make it consistently, and you have to present people with an alternative understanding about what a free society looks like.
Completely. And what's the most effective way of ensuring peaceful pluralism, which I completely agree with you? It's federalism. It's actually ensuring that you maintain this. It's no accident that the founders, created the country as it is. They created a federal system, and the importance of state power and of devolving as much power as possible to the state is absolutely the one guaranteed way of ensuring the kind of pluralism that you're talking about. And of course, what are the Democrats completely opposed to? They're completely opposed to this federalism. They want, what they're doing by trying to impose rules across the country is basically is essentially eliminating the core elements and the core philosophy of federalism. Take, for example, the filibuster. They want to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate. That would turn because for obvious reasons they want to get through a lot of their measures which they wouldn't get through the filibuster. The filibuster is an important protection of the people's rights in this country, and it is rooted in the idea that, again, this is a combination, this is a confederation of states that came together, and they have states' rights. If you introduce, if you eliminate the filibuster, if you get everything through on a national, federal level by a majority vote, you are absolutely not only cutting away that peaceful pluralism, you're creating real trouble, I think, for the future. And that is, that's going to be one of the primary challenges, I think, facing the country in the next few years, which is how to preserve the rights of people who don't go along with the majority of what the people in the country voted for. How do you protect those rights? That's been a fundamental challenge for democracy for centuries. The United States has done it better than any other country over the last 240 years, in large part because of the system that was created when it was founded. If they do away with that, which they're trying to do, then you really do run the risk of tremendous domestic civil strife.
He is Gerard Baker, editor-at-large, Wall Street Journal. Check out his latest column, which he was just referencing. America, it's time for unity, in quotes, or else. Gerard Baker, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Steve Cortez here. Small business owners and those of you who make marketing decisions for businesses, listen up. 2021 is here. How's your marketing plan? 2021 will be a comeback year for so many small businesses, but you'll bounce back faster if you're getting your marketing message to the right audience. That's why you need to become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. We run this campaign in November and December, but we always have a few slots that open up in January. So don't wait to take advantage of them. Here's how it works. You make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor to help them as they provide food for children in Latin America and the Caribbean. All that money goes to Food for the Poor. Then, AM 560 gives you 40 60-second commercials to air right here on this station, Monday through Friday, between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Absolutely free. That's the best marketing deal in all of Chicago radio. To become a business benefactor, call Anjanette at 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. Or go online, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
All right. Take charge. Be proactive. Take Balance of Nature. Why? A lot of us aren't getting the fruits and veggies we need on our own. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. And when you take Balance of Nature, you don't need any extra vitamin C, vitamin D, because all of that is inside Balance of Nature. It's 6 capsules. With that, you're getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. You can take 3 in the morning, 3 at night, whenever you'd like throughout the day. But it does make a difference. I take it to have a strong, healthy immune system. And doctors who have been on the show say you get enough sleep, exercise, and eat a well-balanced diet. So here's what you do. Call this number, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago, or simply go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
Here's a fact. Too much of today's journalism is politically biased. So where should you turn to get accurate, leading-edge information that you can trust? The Epoch Times. The Epoch Times covers the news the way you need it, unfiltered.